Okay, so today and this week we're going to focus on the third step of our critical analysis, which is evaluate. So in your planning template, you have these prompts. What do you think? How was the work received? Find reviews online. This is the only section of the essay where personal pronouns are acceptable. So many of you may find difficulty finding reviews online. If you can, that's great. If you can't, consider this your personal review. If we go back to our assignment outline, here we can copy the prompt and paste it into our planning template under body paragraph 3, so to guide our writing. So how was the work received when it was created? How is it received today? Essentially, what do you think critics think? Is it priceless? If it is, who would buy it? But why, most importantly? And what do you think? Was the artist successful? Is this work worth all the hype? State your opinion. Keep in mind, just because artwork is famous, revered, and reproduced over time doesn't necessarily mean it's good. Remember, this is the section of your essay where personal pronouns are permitted. So I'm going to make sure my font is back to the same and begin answering some of these questions. You Get Me was received with immense praise from the public and the art community. So I found a quote a while back about the artist from his website where he was published in a number of news articles and websites. So it debuted in 2017. It reached 2 million through print and online coverage, had prominent articles in The Guardian, The Economist, The Independent, Vanity Fair, New York Times, Metro, BuzzFeed, Dazed, and Confused, to name a few. So Control C. We're going to bring that back to our planning template, paste that in there. With immense praise from maybe we say immense recognition from the public and art community, with prominent articles featured in these magazines. I'm going to take out the last part to name a few, and we're going to add a footnote for where we got that. Your footnotes should be kept towards the end of your essay so that you can continue to refer back as you're writing. Insert, footnote. Now, something I didn't share with you guys in my last lesson video was that if you have a repetitive use of one source, so you can see here I've sourced his website 4 times. Instead of doing that repeatedly at the end of a paragraph where you've cited it, the same source, if there's no interruption, you can either just use it at the end of that paragraph, or you can use IBID with a period at the end. So IBID just essentially states it's referring to the same source as above. Okay, especially if you have a long footnote, that might be helpful. Okay, so I have answered the question of how it was received in terms of public recognition. I haven't gotten any quotes from art critics. So something I could try is searching for these articles. So if I look at my own sources, I have Artsy, Autograph, and BBC, and Bradford, but I don't have any of the articles listed from his original site. So that might be worth a little Google search to see if I can find some direct quotes from art critics. So The Guardian, Mahtab Hussein. And here we go. Found the article. Portraits of British Muslim men in pictures, from boxing gyms to bedrooms. Photographer Mahtab Hussein asserts the humanity of British Muslims in an age when they are often demonized. So that right there is a great first quote for me to potentially use in the reception of the public. So his goal essentially with this photo series was to change public perception. So this author seems to reveal to us their inherent belief that that is correct and that he's doing what he set out to do. So I'm going to copy that, bring it over to my planning template, and prepare to insert the quote without just dropping it in there. So quoted journalists praised Hussein for his finessed approach to re-educating the public on a dated and dangerous stereotype. And then I can add that quote. Let's make it match our formatting. Okay. And I'm going to have to get my citation machine up and running to enter a proper footnote for that. So add this to my secondary sources. And for now, just for the purpose of the video, I will add that and keep it bold so that I remember. So I've answered how it was received by one. I could go and find additional ones. So we also have noted that BuzzFeed and New York Times, I would tend to go with whatever the most reliable source would be. And traditionally, BuzzFeed and Dazed and Confused, and even Metro sometimes can have a bit of a bias. So I'm going to go with New York Times. Okay. And I don't have a subscription, so it's only going to let me see a small bit of the article. Okay, so this is actually from his website, showing that he attended the New York Times portfolio review. And that has a bit of bias, but it also doesn't tell us what viewers found from the series. So we'll try another one. Vanity Fair, Mahtab Hussein. So we have some of the images. Okay. have some more gallery excerpts or pamphlets. So it looks like I might need to dig a little further to find some more quotes. I might be able to find some more in The Guardian. These are quotes from the artist himself along the side. And that is all. So some of us with more contemporary photographers might find this step challenging. Some of the really dated ones you might find challenging too. Finding out what people thought of it is always the most difficult part. So we're going to cross some of these out for now. We don't have no awareness of if it was purchased or priceless. Now we're going to move on to what do we, the viewer, think, and this is our spot where we can use personal pronouns. So I believe the photographer was successful in achieving his goal to recognize the multifaceted persons within the British Asian male community. By these two photos alone, I see two very different men. Upon first impression, they strike me as confident and self-aware. Speaking as a white female, I can feel the model's gaze looking at me with the same analyzing eye is at him. So this portion here might take you the longest, deciding what do you think. I chose a group that I don't self-identify with. So it's a little bit more challenging for me to give an authentic response other than it helps me see another side that I'm not privy to or a part of a culture that I don't identify with. So I might finish off this paragraph coming back later. I might also talk about the aesthetics of the piece or the title and the concept behind the piece. You Get Me gives me, the viewer, a further insight into the model's attitude and perception of me, the viewer, forming a relationship between art and viewer. Okay, so I've only done the first paragraph here. I made this pretty general, but I might go back and kind of look at it and say, okay, how can I make this more specific to photo one? What would be my initial reaction if I were to come upon this man on the street and he was looking at me like that? How would I react? How differently might I feel now after close examination of the piece? So I hope this helps you in guiding your evaluation step. I recommend keeping these prompts up at the top until you feel you've answered as many of them as best you can. And then obviously reading through what you've written to kind of decide further if you've done all that you can. Don't get too hung up if you can't find reviews online. Those can be pretty tricky. And like the New York Times website exhibit, some of them actually require you to pay for full access to them. Good luck with your writing. Sign up for a conference this week and I can give you some more feedback. I hope you're all staying well and safe and you get outside to enjoy some of the sunshine that we've been having. Take care.